What's up everybody? In this video I want to share with you how to make an interactive video. An interactive video is basically a video that plays and then some decision points may come up that the learner has to make, and then it will branch off into another decision based on their selection. Sometimes it's basically just higher media level to using text or images in a branching scenario. What it's really good for is where you're trying to observe body behaviors, listening for tone and intonation in how people are speaking. So it really just allows you to take that replicating the real world to the next level. So recently we were able to create an interactive video for a client, and you go through the same thing that you do for any problem that you're trying to solve. So the instructional design process happens, you're identifying your actions, your behaviors, the things that you need to train. You basically have that all mapped out as you normally do. And in this instance, it was for their values. So what they really wanted to be able to see is the actions and behaviors of what the values look like in action through decisions. So what would you see if someone was acting in the way that the values should be demonstrated within this organization? So I've got to emphasize, when we started this project, we definitely didn't know that it was going to be an interactive video. What we did was go through our normal instructional design process, try to understand what do these values look like within this organization. We talked to SMEs, subject matter experts, we interviewed employees, we tried to really get the stories around what these values look like for the organization we were working with. So from here we were able to map out all of the actions and behaviors to each of the values to really understand what does that look like day to day, and what are the consequences for the organization in the day to day when people get it wrong. The output of this was a bunch of dot points under each value. It's as simple as that. It's a lot of work, obviously, the instructional design process, but what you're trying to do is simplify things. And there was normally no more than 5, generally only 3 things. Now, talking to people, we had an idea of the stories already, but now we were able to put those stories and the information that we'd gathered to these dot points to create scenarios for each of the values. It was really important to do that because we needed to get the mass amount of people through the actual scenario that was relatable to the most, because they had indoor workers, they had outdoor workers, they had highly technical people, they had more generalists. So we need to get to the mass to help train what that looked like. And that's important, right? Because if you're an organization saying these are our values and everyone must be able to work within them, then we should be able to train it that way too. So now I want to bring up our script, which is actually just a Word document to show you what it actually looked like, which is our instructional design or our storyboard in this particular instance. We didn't go into full storyboarding because we were only focusing on the content, but I want to show you that it's nothing fancy. We used Word, so the client focused only on the content in the first review and wasn't distracted by a full storyboard. We wanted them to pinpoint the actions and behaviors. The content being the things people would say and the scene itself. The client was able to give some feedback using comments and markup within Microsoft Word. Then we were ready to storyboard because we'd spent time upfront understanding the client needs and feedback was minimal. Throughout the storyboard process, it was identified that it would be really cool to use video for this. We had the client on board with that decision, and so therefore we progressed, saying that this would be the better medium for us to produce the training in. So we took that Word document that was approved by the client and created a storyboard. The storyboard was for internal use only. So that Word document we got approved. It had the exact script and the exact behaviors approved by the client that needed to be demonstrated as part of the training. That was as far as the approval went, right? Because we didn't need them to get involved in more detail, and we decided to go with interactive video, which was accepted by the client within the budget, all that kind of stuff. So from here, we had the behaviors. We needed flexibility because anything can happen on a filming day, but what we wanted was just the general idea to understand how that might work. So we storyboarded with the bare bones. It was for internal use only to get the concept across. It was basically a planning exercise for us internally. We used paper and pen, stick people, so that basically we didn't get attached. We didn't want us to be emotionally attached. We wanted to make our storyboards disposable. So if we made mistakes, we'd start over quickly and not waste time to get the best idea across. We did an internal peer review to make sure that we had it mapped out properly. So the client never saw our paper storyboards. They'd already approved those scripts and the exact behaviors that needed to happen in the training. They were able to get a general idea from us about what we were trying to achieve, but we didn't want them getting hung up on not getting it right, because it's very hard for clients to be able to visualize things that we can visualize quite easily. Now it's time to do the planning and logistics. And when you're trying to do video, there's a lot involved. We shared the storyboard with our videographer. They were able to identify any risks or see and start to work out how it could be achieved. We also had a run sheet with the locations, the actors, which were made up of our team and also the client. So we never paid anyone for their acting. And then we also had the schedule. Logistics takes a lot of effort, so take the time to plan it appropriately and scope it out in your project. There's lots of adjusting, trying to get room bookings and locations. Things change all the time, so make sure you take the time to perfectly plan it out as much as you can. You also got to consider people's availability as well. This is probably my biggest tip for you if you're going to create an interactive video, and that is to hire a professional. We can use cameras and all that, and it can be done on iPhones and things like that because the quality is that good on those devices. But really, like our videographer, oh my God, it was a dream to work with him, I must say. Shout out to Adam Marshall of We Create Content. We've worked with him on on normal like corporate kind of videos before. We hadn't ever done anything first person with him, but it really, really matters. So what he did was he had a GoPro. He wore it up here, he had his phone, because we knew that Adam had gone from how he was interacting on the day. He'd really worked out those storyboards and knew his lines, because he had lines. He was the person doing the training in first person. He'd practiced, he knew where the camera needed to be, what needed to be in shot. We could see it on the iPhone, he'd play it back each time. If it wasn't right, he'd do it all over again. So hire a professional, because also we needed the audio right. I'm not good with that stuff. You probably noticed the quality of these videos is not very good. So he was able to get everything in frame, the quality of video that we needed. He's able to edit it very quickly because we just ran it through in one shot, chop the start and finish off, package it up and give us the little MP4 file that we could then put into Articulate. So yeah, I recommend you hire a professional, build it into your quote initially. Then when you get your videos from the videographer, the MP4, you can pop into Articulate. You use your scenes, you add little buttons or shapes to move things between, clickable, take to the next step. So that's how we built this interactive video that you're about to see now.
I need to speak to a counsellor about the service here today.
Then you get to share it with the team, and it's pretty awesome, especially like getting to see it come all to life. And when your team are the actors and they've been so embarrassed and dreading it, coming up to it, and then they do an awesome job. Shout out Victoria, well done. And then, yeah, it's really cool. Celebrate it. It's an awesome project to work on. You get to see how easy it can be to do an interactive video, because it's just following a process very similar to the process that you might do for an image-based scenario or a text-based scenario. It's also not as expensive as you think. So we had filming for one day to build out 5 scenarios with 1 decision point each, and then cutting and editing, I don't think it was very long. I'm going to say it was 2 days that we allowed for. We planned it so well that we actually had no revisions. We didn't need to reshoot or anything, but that was built in to the contract that if we needed to reshoot anything, because it was approved at Storyboard, that it would be at an additional charge. So everything was approved when we sent it through for video because we spent that time up front to plan it properly. And then of course it's our time, so logistics is quite a lot of time. You want someone on the day with the videographer that's continuously checking back with the storyboards to make sure that we're achieving what we need to do, because you do not want to make mistakes and you just have your checklist. Yep, we've achieved that. Checking everything back on the video that you're watching. Yes, it meets the storyboard. We've hit our objective. Mark that one complete. Let's shoot the next one. Big shout out to my team on this one, because in the past I've done it all myself, but I know that this was the first time that Hannah had done planning all the logistics and running a day like this, and Victoria had her first go of acting, and I know she was absolutely dreading it, but big shout out to the team because they did a great job and the client was really, really happy, and I am personally very proud of this project. I think it's a real showcase piece. So if you got questions on this, hit us up in the comments, let us know, and love to know your experience with working with interactive video. What kind of things have you used it for in terms of training? Have an awesome day, and thanks for watching the video. Hey, if you like this video and added value to you, you are absolutely going to love our Creator Hub. It's a place for freelancers and people taking the leap from corporate to go do their own thing, or agency owners. It's got templates, it's got free stuff, it helps you write winning proposals. We've got a template for that. How do you draft contracts? How do you quote projects? Storyboard templates, user acceptance templates. So jump on, check it out. It's creatorhub.belvistastudios.com. You will absolutely love it. Thanks for checking it out. Peace.